Michigan fired football coach Sherrone Moore for cause on Wednesday. Then he ended up detained by police Wednesday evening. Thanks for joining us for a breaking news edition of Locked On Big Ten.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Shemon, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network out there. Thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey, hit that free subscribe button down below while you're checking us out. That way you'll never miss a single episode. And if you could share, follow, and like, that helps us out too. And hype YouTube videos. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. So Sherrone Moore fired, detained by police. We'll give you everything we know right here. Plus, we have more Big Ten news, an unfortunate Indiana injury ahead of their playoff run, and we'll have our Big Ten classics later on. But first, Michigan fired football coach Sherrone Moore after finding credible evidence that he had an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. Moore is married with 3 kids. And an even more bizarre twist, Moore was then detained by police hours after his termination. The Saline, Michigan Department issued a statement saying that the city of Saline Police Department assisted in locating and detaining former University of Michigan football coach Sherrone Moore. Mr. Moore was turned over to the Pittsfield Township Police Department for investigation into potential charges. So there was a shift from police departments here. At the time of this podcast, we do not know what Moore was detained for, whether the police activity had anything to do with his firing or was the reason for the firing. We do not know that right now. Earlier Wednesday, Michigan Athletic Director Warde Manuel announced that he fired 39-year-old football coach Sherrone Moore for cause. That means his contract is void and will no longer be paid out. His buyout was $14 million. He made over $6 million this year, had 3 years remaining on his original 5-year deal. Now Michigan owes him nothing. Manuel confirmed after a university investigation that there was credible evidence that Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Manuel went on to state, quote, "This conduct constitutes a clear violation of university policy, and UM maintains zero tolerance for such behavior," unquote. The Detroit News is reporting that the school hired an outside investigative firm which found that Moore had an inappropriate relationship with a person on the football staff. We do not know how long ago this investigation was underway, whether they sat on it for the end of the regular season. We do not know any of that information. We do not know how long this relationship allegedly was going on. The Detroit News also reported that there was an incident Wednesday that, quote, required police attention, unquote. It is unclear what the incident was or what charges he could be facing if he is actually put under arrest. Again, as of this podcast, he was only being detained, but he was still in custody Wednesday night. Associate head coach Biff Poggi, who stepped up and ran the team when Moore served a 2-game suspension in weeks 3 and 4 of the regular season for the NCAA Spygate scandal involving Connor Stallions, will serve as the interim head coach effective immediately. Sherrone Moore broke into the Michigan staff as a tight ends coach back in 2018 under Jim Harbaugh. He stepped up as an interim head coach during Harbaugh's multiple suspensions in his final year there. And during Michigan's national championship season in 2023, Moore was Harbaugh's offensive coordinator and offensive line coach. And then the school promoted Moore to head coach when Harbaugh left for the NFL, while also dodging NCAA infractions in January of 2024. In Moore's first regular season as the head coach in 2024, he went 7-5, but one of those wins was against Ohio State at Ohio State when the Wolverines were 3-touchdown underdogs. They later beat Alabama in the ReliaQuest Bowl to improve to 8-5, and that's how they finished the season. This season, the Wolverines just wrapped up a 9-3 season, and are preparing to face Texas in the Citrus Bowl on December 31st. Moore will not be part of that. Michigan will begin looking for a permanent head coach immediately. In addition to the bowl coming up, signing day for recruits just wrapped up last week, and the official transfer portal opens up the first week of January. But the coaching carousel that was crazy and going on, it's just about come to a stop. Most of the job openings around college football just got filled, including Penn State, Michigan State, and UCLA. And most of the hot coaching candidates have been hired by these places, or other desirable coaches have leveraged the coaching market into new contract extensions to stay put where they're at. So I don't know what direction Michigan's going to go for a new head coach. And there aren't any more Michigan men out there anymore with ties to Bo Schembechler and Jim Harbaugh. And, of course, some of Jim Harbaugh's former Michigan assistants are not eligible due to NCAA show cause penalties. So that would just about eliminate Jesse Minter from coming back. Even Sherrone Moore was due to sit out the first game of the 2026 season as that last bit of punishment for Spygate. Did the 2 games in weeks 3 and 4 here, and then the third game was going to be pushed off to the season opener in 2026. If there's one silver lining to all this for Michigan, they're free and clear of all this Spygate, Harbaugh, Sherrone Moore. It's an opportunity once this dust clears to get a fresh start and go in a different direction. But there's still a lot of questions. Like, what direction do they go? There are big name coaches available out there. Brian Kelly, who was fired, left Notre Dame to go to LSU, was fired at LSU. But remember, here's something to think about with Brian Kelly. He actually recruited Bryce Underwood to LSU. That was a last-second flip to Michigan when the name, image, and likeness money came in. Maybe he's got a good relationship with Underwood. Underwood's somebody you got to think about now. Is he going to stay? Is he going to leave? There's guys out there like Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo doesn't strike me as an Ann Arbor type of guy, but who knows? Do you go crazy? Like a John Gruden type? Or do you try and pry away a really good coach at a good school? Maybe a Manny Diaz type at Duke? Kalen DeBoer, there were a lot of rumors around him when all the Lane Kiffin stuff was circulating around, and the Penn State job and all that. Jed Fish at Washington? I don't know. I'm just throwing some names out there because that's what everybody else is going to do at this point, including Warde Manuel. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know who he's going to hire. I really don't know what direction he's going to go. It is late in the game here. They can't really go the NFL route because all those coaches won't be available for another month and a half. There's too much going on. This is the most crazy, busy, and important time of the college football calendar. And right now, Michigan does not have a head football coach. Frankly, this could not have happened at a worse time. And again, I mentioned the Bryce Underwood thing. I'm thinking about his future. I'm thinking about the 5-star recruits they just signed last week. Savon Hiter, is he still going to come? Carter Meadows, another 5-star. Is he still going to come? This is a bad deal for Michigan. Awful timing. I'm sure more details will be coming out in the next hours regarding the reason for the police activity. It is a crazy time for Michigan football right now. Be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode. And if you could share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, that helps us out as well. Don't forget, we have a website, talkbig10.com. We put all of our podcasts there. You can go back there for a second listen, catch up on yesterday's, for example. We're here every single day. And also you can click on your school logos and get your logos on your shirts and hoodies and pennants just in time for the holidays. You need a last second gift, Big Ten school oriented, all right there at talkbig10.com. All right, we have some more Big Ten news coming up. Indiana suffered an unfortunate injury that is going to cost them in their playoff run. We'll tell you about that. And also we'll have our Big Ten classics. We'll have some hoops news, and we got a new Locked On announcement we've been talking about this week that you're going to be interested in for you everydayers. All that's coming up right here in 1 minute on Locked On Big Ten. The holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. And it's not just something you wrap, it's a way to share memories. I have one myself. I think they're great. It just rotates digital pictures, videos up to 30 seconds, all in there. So it's not just your simple picture frame. Aura's got this, it's fantastic. And you can preload it and then give it to somebody as a gift so they don't have to load it, even though that's super easy to do. So, I mean, there are no difficult apps to figure out. It's all easy, no headaches, just instant smiles for everybody, for grandparents, parents, newlyweds, anyone who loves to have photos around. And again, 30-second videos as well. And it's all ready to go for a limited time now. You could save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using the promo code COLLEGE at checkout. And that's auraframes.com. I'll spell it for you. A-U-R-A. Aura. Auraframes.com. Promo code COLLEGE. This deal is exclusive to listeners and our listeners. You guys. This is just for you. These frames sell out fast. So order yours now and get in time for the holidays. And you can support the show by mentioning Locked On Big Ten at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten. We always appreciate it. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Now, you already live your team every day. Now you can take it and level it up and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Big Ten with no interruptions. Members-only Discord access to exclusive other podcasts as well, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedonbig10.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. So I got one other piece of news for Michigan fans, and now I don't know if it applies, but I got an update on defensive back Rod Moore. He was instrumental in the 2023 national championship season, but he's been plagued by this leg injury that it can't get right. And it's affected. He missed all 2 seasons ago and missed half of this season. Tried to give it a go. Then you notice he wasn't in the lineup anymore. So Sherrone Moore, before he got fired, said that Rod Moore will take a red shirt and the team would like to have him back for 2026. But Sherrone Moore says we'll leave it to Rod Moore's doctors and family. They got to make some sort of decision. But now with Wednesday's events, who knows? Who knows? So the Big Ten championship game between Indiana and Ohio State was the most watched Big Ten championship game ever. More than 18 million people tuned in to watch the Hoosiers win their first title since 1967 on Fox. In fact, that number peaked at 19.93 million between 11 and 11:15 Eastern late in the game, right before we went live here on Locked On Big Ten, by the way. By comparison, last year's title game between Oregon and Penn State only drew 10.5 million on CBS. I mean, it was a substantial jump. It was huge. Something to keep an eye on now with the Hoosiers. It's not good. But their edge rusher, Stephen Daley, he was seen celebrating after the Big Ten championship. He was along the sidelines, reaching up, high-fiving people in the front row, and his knee buckled. Somebody got it on video because they were filming it on their phone. And so when the confetti cleared and everybody was off the stage, he was seen on a cart and his leg was immobilized. That's not good. And on Wednesday, head coach Curt Cignetti confirmed that Daley will indeed miss the rest of the postseason. It's a shame. It's a shame. Made it through the game fine. All right, now we all know that Penn State hired football coach Matt Campbell to replace fired coach James Franklin. But interim coach, former Nittany Lions player Terry Smith, is going to actually stay on the staff. He's the interim coach when James Franklin gets fired. You bring in a new coach, and he's going to stay on. You football fans know that this is very unusual for him to stay on. So I've been wondering why, and he finally addressed it. He said he loves the school, first of all. I think we all knew that. But second, he says, I can only work for certain types of people who are just like him, blue collar, creating toughness and discipline, And he graciously said that he felt like Matt Campbell was the right leadership at the right time for this football program. And he wanted to remain part of it. He wanted to be part of it. No ego, nothing like that. Even though he did, try to get the head coaching job, he wanted it. But that's kind of refreshing. So I'm glad it worked out for him. One little peek behind the curtain on name, image, and likeness. I thought this was an interesting story. I'll share it with you. It does involve a Big Ten team, but ESPN Monday Night Football analyst and three-time Super Bowl quarterback and Hall of Famer Troy Aikman, he recently talked about name, image, and likeness, and he's not a fan of it. He doesn't not like it because it's okay that kids make money, but he didn't like the whole process. It's got to be cleaned up a little bit. We all agree on that. But as you may remember, Aikman spent his time at both Oklahoma and UCLA before he became a Dallas Cowboy and a three-time Super Bowl champion and a Hall of Famer. He said he gave name, image, and likeness money to a kid one time at UCLA. He didn't mention who the kid was, but he said it was a sizable check. And he said he never met the kid, never got a thank you from the kid. And the kid left the school the next year, transferred out, went somewhere else. So obviously that put a sour taste in Troy Aikman's mouth. He says he's not going to donate again. And that's too bad for UCLA. I mean, that's the wild, wild world of college football and money. But here you have one of your most famous alums, one of your wealthiest. You're not going to donate anymore because of that one bad experience. That's too bad. Hey, Thursday night, we got some basketball to look forward to just a little bit involving a Big Ten team. Iowa, 8-1 at Iowa State, 9-0. Iowa State fresh off that big upset win over number 1 Purdue at Purdue. This game, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock Central on FS1. The Cyhawk rivalry for basketball, right? Hey, if you're new, checking out this Sherrone Moore story involving his firing and police and all that stuff, we're here every day on Locked On Big Ten, and we do something that makes us more unique than any other podcast out there. We always close it out with benchmark features at the end of the day. Like every Monday, you put your calendar by it. Monday in our third segment, we always do my top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. And it's a fun way to kind of go back and highlight cool stuff that happened over the weekend. Tuesdays, we do Tuesday tweets. You can follow us on X or Twitter at Talk Big Ten and send me something. If it's good, I'll put it on the show every Tuesday. Tuesday tweets. Do a lot of Big Ten stuff. Obviously, Big Ten stuff, Big Ten Network, college football stuff. It's a lot of fun. Wednesdays, we like to power rank stuff, whether it be the power ranking, the standings. In fact, if you want to check out yesterday's podcast for a second listen, we had our final Big Ten football power rankings 1 through 18. And by the way, if you are new, I'm going to tell you, we had Indiana number 1 in the Big Ten weeks ago. We had them ahead of everybody else. Said, well, Ohio State, maybe India. No, we were clear. Indiana number 1, better roster. And now they're the champs. Very proud of that. A lot of people gave me trouble for that. Thursdays, coming up in a minute, we'll take a look at the Big Ten Network. Even though we're not affiliated with them, we take a look at Big Ten Classics and live action over the weekend. I think they have a quadruple header in basketball on Saturday. Plus, we'll look at the Big Ten Classics that they're going to air. We highlight just a few things. We don't do their whole lineup. And then Fridays, we make our picks, our pigskin picks. Always have fun with that. We go on the record. We give you our opinion and analysis all week. Then we close it out with our actual picks. So that's what we have looking forward to on Friday. But coming up in a minute, we'll take a look at Big Ten Classics and live action all right here on Locked On Big Ten. NFL Sundays move fast. Yes, they do. One big play, suddenly everything feels different. And that's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game. You're not just a couch potato. You're involved. You're in the game. You got action. Makes it very exciting. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. You can wait because it's live in-game stuff. You can do it beforehand too if you want. If you're pretty confident in yourself. There's always that drive or the big turnover and the momentum swing. If you were watching the Eagles the other night, how many momentum swings were there? Jalen Hurts was turning the ball over all over the yard, sometimes multiple times on one play. You can jump in on that with live betting action with FanDuel. Live betting is the best when the momentum shifts in the game. Hot receiver, defense, lighten it up. You got live spreads and the money lines. They adjust instantly as the game goes on, in case you didn't know that. Player props, they update as guys heat up. Numbers go up and down. Jump in on it. I like unders on primetime games. Teams are tired. Ignore the Cowboys Lions from last week, but I mean, Eagles games are primetime. Those are always hitting the unders. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you at FanDuel.com. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten, making us your first listen each and every day. All right, it is time now for our Big Ten Classics and live action coming up on the weekend. If you are on audio only, no problem, and many of you are, and that's okay. We're on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, in addition to the video on YouTube as well. But we're going to put it on screen with the date, school logos, got the grid here, and we'll pick up the action on the Big Ten Network. Big Ten Classics, Friday, December 12th. They start 2 o'clock. I pulled this, the Indiana Football Classic. This is Indiana and Iowa. This is from this past September. Indiana was just getting going. They were good. And then they went to Iowa and they got in trouble. The game was tied late. Fernando Mendoza throwing a 49-yard touchdown pass to Elijah Surratt late in the fourth quarter with about 90 seconds to go. Keep the Hoosiers undefeated. And they won 20-15 over the Hawkeyes. That was a great game. It was nerve-wracking if you're an Indiana person. At 6 o'clock Eastern, they're going to air their Big Ten Trailblazers. This one features Mark Cuban, former governor of the Mavericks, TV personality, gives his whole life how he grew up, went to Indiana University, and became the great entrepreneur that he is. I actually watched that about 3 weeks ago. It's pretty good. 7 p.m. Eastern, another one of their Big Ten football in 60. These are different than their Big Ten Classics. This is where they take a game, they chop it up from snap to snap and edit it all right in a row and jam it in a game into 60 minutes. You can sit down and watch it. And they did that with the Big Ten championship game with Ohio State and Indiana just from last week, if you want to go back and check that out. And Fernando Mendoza's 222 yards and a touchdown. And the second-ranked Hoosiers became the number one ranked Hoosiers with their 13-10 win over then top-ranked Ohio State and get their first Big Ten championship since 1967. At 8 o'clock Eastern, got another one of those Big Ten football in 60s with Ohio State at Michigan just from a few weeks ago. Julian Sand throwing for 233 and 3 touchdowns. And the Buckeyes 27-9 win over the 15th-ranked Wolverines. So you can check that out, Buckeye fans. And then at 9 o'clock Eastern, Ohio State Football Classic, all the way back to week 1. Texas and Ohio State. That was actually August 30th. Julian Sands' debut as the starting quarterback, threw for 126 yards and a touchdown. Buckeyes were ranked 3rd in the country at the time. This is so far long ago. Penn State was number 2 at the time. Remember that? But the Buckeyes won this game over number 1, Texas, 14-7. That was the final score. So those are some of your big-time classics on Friday. Let's take a look at the Saturday programming here. And we'll pick up the action at 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. Big Ten football in 60. Again, the championship game, in case you missed it, they're going to run that again. They're going to be running that a lot this weekend. Then at 11:30, they switch gears to Big Ten Live and the basketball tip-off show. You can tune in and get ready for all the day's Big Ten action for basketball. And then they've got a quadruple header on Saturday. We'll pick it up at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, Michigan State at Penn State, followed by 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Pacific, Jackson State at Northwestern. We'll go 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, UC Davis at Oregon. And then at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific, Southern Utah is out at Washington, out on the West Coast. All right, one more. We're going to flip it on over to Sunday. Just a couple of things I want to highlight. Again, we don't do their whole lineup, just things I think you'd be interested in. We'll pick it up at 1 o'clock. Here's some alternate programming from the NFL. At 1 o'clock Eastern, they've got live men's Big Ten basketball, Texas Southern at Minnesota. And at 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific, Western Michigan is at Iowa. So there you have it. Big Ten Classics and live action on the Big Ten Network. It is something we do and highlight every Thursday here on Locked On Big Ten. Hope you enjoy all that and maybe make some plans, watch it, all that kind of stuff. Now, here's what we got going on for the rest of the week. Don't forget Friday, we'll have our pigskin picks. I haven't decided what we're going to talk about yet on Friday. I was going to do kind of a Heisman Trophy thing since we have both Fernando Mendoza and Julian Sayin up for the Heisman. We'll still talk about it. I don't know if we'll feature it or not because we're going to wait, see how the Sherrone Moore police situation develops after his firing on Wednesday. So, and then we will do pigskin picks. We'll look at odds. Washington's got a bowl game already this weekend. We'll take a look at the championship odds of the playoff teams. We'll compare them to the odds from the summer when everybody was wrong. So we'll do all that and have some fun as well. And then, believe it or not, I mean, the playoff games, they start December 19th and 20th, and we're good to go. And all the bowl games in between, we'll get you covered right here on Locked On Big Ten. All right. Once again, I want to thank you for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day. And I want to thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. It's great. #1. You already live your team every day. You're passionate. You're in. You're all in. Now you can take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Big Ten with no interruptions. Plus members-only Discord access to other exclusive podcasts. It's all for just $5 a month, $50 a year. You save that way. So go to Locked On Big Ten, number 10, lockedonbig10.supercast.com, or you can check the link in the show notes and learn more if you want to get dialed in there. I want to thank you. This has been a crazy, explosive, breaking news podcast here for Locked On Big Ten, and if anything breaks, we'll be all over it here for your #1 source of all things Big Ten. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Shemon. We'll see you next time.